Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope it's gonna be great.
Definitely, man, definitely. So, the first thing I want to start out asking you is like, what was it like for you growing up in Russia?
Uh, it's kind of tricky question because um, life in Russia was pretty surreal. Because like for example, I'm from like this small town close to Moscow, this town called Krasnogorsk, and this town is famous by its like really famous cameras factory. Called
Mhm.
Zenit. Probably you know these Soviet ones like Loma and stuff like that. So Zenit was like 15 minutes walk from my mom's place actually. But
Oh,
basically
wow.
it's like yeah, but basically it's like Moscow, it's like, the county for different cities in the US. Yeah, the surrealism, like of this life was in that terms that Moscow was like very, like fancy European capital, but still you got like suppressed and depressed in a lot of ways. My childhood, like took time and place in a very nice Russian period
Mhm.
called, like early 2000s or so, and it was probably like the time that was full of freedom, but still, like things are getting worse, and it's getting worse as well
Oh, wow.
nowadays for sure. I mean, like, I don't have like one and only like answer to this
Yeah.
question, but yeah, it was tricky.
Oh, wow. And like, did anyone know? Like, did any of your friends, family know you were gay while you were living there? Because I know being gay is actually harder in Russia than it is here in the
Yeah, for
States.
sure. It was like a really, really long process of my self-acceptance. I firstly came out as pansexual and then a gay person. Yeah, and like I was pretty famous in Russia, in Moscow, and I built my public face, my public image on being
Mhm.
honest with the wide audience, like talking about my sexual relationships, talking about, like my generation, Gen Z, and our attitude to, like sex life, to
Yeah.
politics, to society, and stuff like that. So it was pretty easy for me to talk, like to a lot of people about my personal life. But still, there, like there was something in the air, and I was scared to using this like date apps,
Mhm.
to like to live my I don't know, just life in an open, like way of this life, if
Oh,
it
yeah, of course.
make any sense. Yeah, so yeah, it was tough, and it's getting more and more tough, and I'm really scared about these queer kids and queer teenagers that now are living in Russia, like under
Mhm.
this anti-gay legislation is getting, like worse and worse.
Yeah.
Probably the worst period in terms of
Oh my
that. Yeah.
God. Wow. And you wrote a script there too, like while you were living in Russia, like you wrote a a queer film script, but you couldn't make it. Was that it? The ab absence.
Yeah, the point was, I used to be a journalist, like 10 years or so, and I started when I was a teenager. I was like 14, and I
Hmm.
pretty quickly achieved all of this fancy stuff, like being published by GQ, Forbes, The Hollywood
Oh, wow.
Reporter. I've been to Marvel film set. Like
Oh,
I interviewed more than 100 different celebrities, like The Rock, Jessica Chastain,
oh my God.
a lot of different people. And like at the end of the day, I burnt out, and I got this idea that journalism was like very first open door to this like film world for me. but it
Mhm.
wasn't my door. But I was too young to process that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
decided to go with this like profession, but at the end of the day, I decided to get this transition because otherwise I could, like committed suicide or something like that because it was so crucial. I just hated this, like field at the end of the day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, and I just did my short and I needed to pay bills, so I was doing journalism, but at that point it was mostly political and society journalism, social journalism, and I did some entrepreneur stuff just to, like to raise some money. And yeah, I did this first short, which, like ended up as the most successful Russian horror ever, called The Dent, in terms of the festivals, I mean. And yeah, and I wrote my first feature script, which was like a really, I don't know, like it was like studio-esque horror, but
Okay.
there were like some queer themes within. So it was, I bet it was possible to make in Russia before the war started, a war between Russia and Ukraine. But it was tough because we didn't get the opportunity to raise public fundings, and
Yeah.
we had to go with this, like co-production system, different private money and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, war between Russia and Ukraine started. Russia invaded Ukraine. And I got this idea that I could be arrested and, like the things could be even worse. And I was right. I fled the country in one day with just a duffel bag and $200.
Wow.
And yeah, and 7 months after, police came to my mom's place, and it was like eight or so times, and it was kind of, tough and scary. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just had to leave the country and to
Oh, yeah.
rebuild my life from scratch to, like reestablish my name. And I hope I'm doing great, but like it's a long process and you need to do something. And film, probably it's like one and only thing that, like is pushing me forward,
Yeah, exactly.
making my life, like reasonable. Because I lost like everything, family, friends, like
Mm.
hobbies and stuff like that. Like fancy or so-called fancy way of life in this Moscow bubble. And now I'm just, like grabbing this, I don't know, like hope, an idea that I could stick to my guns. I
Yeah.
know, I can just keep moving, keep filming something, keep telling my stories. Yeah. So
Wow.
I got like this feature script. I wrote it in Russian, and then I adapted it to English, and English, like Western way of thinking. And I wrote my second feature here in LA. Now I'm in LA. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I got like two shorts already filmed, and I got some short scripts. Yeah, when you're a filmmaker, you need to be like multitasking person,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And like when you first got to Cali to Cali California, like what were your first thoughts when you saw like how open being gay is there?
I first came to Istanbul, Turkey, and then I got through like 15 countries. A lot of them were in Europe, and in Europe is, yeah, you feel, like fresh and open and stuff like
Mm.
that, for sure. Yeah, in the US, it's kind of tricky because the US is closer to Russia in terms of, like some things are not that good right now, as you know.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
it's better for sure. And in terms of my sexuality, yeah, it's kind of really different life. In terms of, like being a filmmaker, it's like, yeah, you can hate, like this city and this I don't know, like state pretty quickly, but yeah, you just need to keep hustling.
definitely. And the first film that you wrote and made is a queer horror short, Dead, Dead End. And what inspired you to want to write the film and make it?
Yeah, on the one hand, it was like my huge fascination with some horror films as It Follows by David Robert Mitchell
Yeah, I love that film.
or Us by Jordan Peele, and
Mhm.
like some of these modern ones and some of the classics like Greg Araki, like I don't know, the filmmakers that like inspired me like a lot.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it was like loosely based on true story. I got this
Oh,
like huge fear of being followed by my ex, and I
oh,
decided to like to work with this trauma through like film, through this movie, and it was kind of therapeutic in a way. So yeah, it was like really personal story, and it is really personal story, especially like this movie probably is one and only that I made in my own language in Russian,
mhm.
because the next, like my second short was already in English, and probably like each and every next project of mine would be like in English or in different languages, but Russian. So yeah, it was really personal. It was like my really warm love letter to the genre as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the film was first shown at Beyond Fest, and then it went on the show at multiple horror fest, queer fest. And what was it like for you to actually see like your first film being shown at all these different horror fests?
hmm It was like a dream come true moment because like when I fled Russia, I got nothing behind. I mean, like in terms of the film, because we got no selection at the time, and like I got no, I don't know, like being recognizable in the world and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then Beyond Fest discovered me and this like warm people, like they are really best people in the world, and they're trying to support me, to help me in different ways actually. And after that it was like a snowball effect, because like Beyond Fest is a big deal.
Oh
uh
yeah, I know it's huge.
yeah, and after that, we got like more than 20 film festivals, and we are still playing with Dead End, which is like really, really interesting thing for me because like the festival run was supposed to wrap up, but
Yeah.
to be wrapped up, but we just got being shown at the Portland Horror Film Festival like 2 weeks ago, and I got like the best short film award up there for this
Awesome.
movie. And yeah, and the reception was really warm and nice. And yeah, this movie is still in game, and I love this way of like
Yeah.
being recognizable for sure. Because when something really personal, like you're talking about this something really personal, and this
Exactly.
something personal is being welcomed by a lot of people that you didn't know and you don't know still. And that's like a huge thing. And getting these prizes and like being mentioned by different media outlets and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
hope it's gonna help me to just to keep like
Oh,
uh,
it definitely will.
keep doing what I want,
Yeah.
what I like what I'm here to do. So yeah, at the end of the day, we're still playing, and it's, as I told you, probably arguably the most successful Russian horror ever, and
Yeah, it
it's
definitely
like
seems
a
like
huge
it.
honor for me. And like watching your film, for example, I got this award year ago at Salem Horror Fest called
Mhm.
George A. Romero Film Fellowship,
I
and I
saw
was
that, yeah.
matched to my to with my mentor Carter Smith, which is like amazingly good film director writer with a really good taste and, you know, like love to the genre and to the queer cinema as well.
Mhm.
And, you know, like just watching my film next to him and getting, you know, like his really warm feedback on that, it was like really dream come true moment because I saw his feature debut called The Ruins 2008 when I
Oh,
was
yeah, that
like
was good.
9 or 10 years old. And now this person is my mentor and, you know, like is trying to support me. It's like really big thing. Yeah, yeah. So I'm really happy that I'm getting this, you know, like appreciation and being lit and stuff like that. But still, I'm a bit stuck. I'm still not doing, you know, like the feature film, and it's kind of long and tough process that makes me, you know, like a bit scary about my future as well. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
even being, you know, like honored by these awards and
Yeah.
selections by different festivals. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, working with Carter Smith is huge. I mean, the guy's made like a lot of amazing queer horror and regular horror too, and he's like
I
one of
mean,
my favorite things of his is all the dead boys, that photo shoot he does.
yeah.
Were you ever asked to
He's
do it?
killing that. Yeah, for sure. It's so like queer and
Oh,
horror
it's
at the same
amazing. I love
time.
it.
Yeah, I love this one. Yeah, I just could share that with you as well. Yeah, and you know, like Jamie Marx's Death is such a, you know, like my movie. I
Oh,
just
is it really?
yeah, and it was a Sundance selection. I bet it's his second film or so. And
Mhm.
you know, Carter was like really good person in a good time because I was supposed to shoot my second shirt and we got no money for this shirt. And Carter told me that I could wait this money like for ages. And I just need to shoot it, you know, like with any money. Um, because, you know, like less money you got, smarter you are. Uh, and and we did this movie, like my second short called The Power of the Strike in Berlin, like last summer, like basically with no money. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, you'll never say that. The same thing was with Swallowed. I
Yeah.
guess like first film of Carter. And you know, like this movie is like really low budget, but you'll
Yeah.
never say that because Carter got this, you know, like really good look, really strong visual aspect of his films,
Oh, definitely.
which is like such my thing. Yeah.
Wow. And the film you just mentioned, The Power Strike, what made you choose a bowling alley? Like where was the bowling alley at? Like it was very creepy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was like a shitty bar, in the middle of nowhere in Berlin, like one of these, not central areas, you know. And they got like two lines of the for this bowling alley just, you know, like below this shitty bar. And yeah, we found this location and it was like, oh, it's a perfect metaphor for the story because this
Mhm.
story is about, you know, like um get back your power from these like powerful people and being trapped with this, you know, like um I don't know, just dumb and right wing ultra crazy people.
Mhm.
And yeah, at the same time it's about, you know, like fancy, stylish way of hitting people with a bowling ball. So yeah, it was like a perfect location for us because in initial script it wasn't bowling alley, it was like just a warehouse or something like that. And I decided to go with bowling alley. It was probably like the best decision in terms of the
Oh
story,
yeah.
style of the story and visual aspect of it. Yeah, yeah.
And like where did you like for for both both shorts, like where did you find the amazing cast at? Because like the cast you got for both films are like nailed it.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate that because like for me, it's a very, very important, probably even essential thing to find the right body language
Hmm.
in terms of acting. Because, like I came from this country where, like theater is really powerful. And I mean, like Stanislavski and Chekhov's school, and now Kirill Serebrennikov, which was like firstly a theatrical director. I mean, like doing theater performances, not only film, and the film after that. And yeah, for me, each and every movie should be like, really, I don't know, expressionistic in terms of body language. That's how I'm trying to pick my actors. And Russian actor school is like brilliant in terms of that. I got a lot of people around which were actors, and some of them were like mutual friends of mine. The guy who is playing the dad in Dead End, he's like one of the most famous Russian actors ever.
Oh,
He got like his filmography got like 300 roles or something like that.
oh my God.
And he's like really close friend to mine. I'm trying to keep, like contact with his whole family. And yeah, in terms of the second one, it was pretty sketchy because like I was new to country, I was new to town, to
Hmm.
Berlin. And in Berlin, it's not like in Los Angeles or somewhere else like that. I mean, like in terms of finding English speaking actors, because
Yeah.
I don't speak German, and I just can do that in German. Probably I can, but it would be like even more tough. But Berlin is so international city, um,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of English speaking people up there, especially actors. I don't know why, but at the end of the day, we found like two Americans for these like villains. We find the main guy who is German, but his English is really good, and we got like this Brazilian well-built actor, which is great as well. So yeah, it was tough, but and I'm really picky in terms of like casting and stuff. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's doable, and
Nice.
you just need like give a fuck these things.
Yes, exactly. And are there any like queer horror films that you watch, like making like two back-to-back queer horror shorts? Are there any queer horror films you watch to get IEDs from?
Okay, yeah. If you're talking in particular about queer films and queer horror films, Swallowed was a big deal for me.
Good
At
movie.
that time, I loved Swallowed, for sure. Greg Araki, it's not like horror, but it's such a, like huge thing for queer filmmaking.
Hmm.
Greg Araki was a huge part of new queer cinema and wave, I mean. And yeah, and we got like a poster of one of his movies in my second shirt, and yeah, and some knocking, some celebrations and homages to his films as well. What's that? What else? I mean, like each and every horror movie could be considerably, like a queer movie as well. There is a book called "It Came from the Closet," something like that, something like
Okay.
that, and it's like a queer perspective on
Yeah.
horror, and they got a huge like amount of essays about different films. For example, Jaws by Steven Spielberg, which
Yes.
is like could be a queer film as well, because the whole second part is like so like queer in terms of the tension between the main characters, in terms of
You're
like
right.
their body language and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like a lot. I'm such a movie buff, and I'm, like I'm watching a lot. Last year, according to my letterboxd, I saw like 420 films. For this year, it's already 180 or so. And
Wow.
yeah, I'm, I love movies, and I'm
Oh yeah,
trying to, like to be inspired by them. And
definitely.
and queer horror for sure, it's like a huge part of me.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. And when you're not making films, what do you like doing during your free time?
Listening to some podcast, listening to, like music for sure, because, like
Mhm.
I love this way of Damien Chazelle filmmaking when your movies, like really got this really music feeling, musicality, So I'm such a music person as well. I'm walking a lot, like just finding new thoughts, new ideas, and stuff like that. But basically, my life is so dedicated to film, and I'm
Oh yeah.
trying to stick to these guns.
Okay. And what about music? Like what kind of songs do you like listening to?
Oh my God, like everything from, like pop music like Charlie XCX and Troy Sivan and stuff like that to
Troy's
something,
good.
like classic. I'm a huge fan of Radiohead for sure, with their like depression and melancholy and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails and Trent
Oh
Reznor,
yeah.
Chris Ross. I love synth music, and all of my films are scored in this way as well. And this electronic way of finding, like the right, I don't know, just right expression. I'm so fascinated with that. And some classics for sure. Like when I was a kid, my granny grabbed me to this, like live concerts, and I got being inspired by a lot of different classic composers and stuff like that, like
Okay.
Scriabin, like Tchaikovsky, like Mahler, and Monteverdi for sure. And it's like another part of me. So yeah, like everything.
Nice. And what would be your go-to karaoke song if you were gonna sing one?
Oh my God. Small Town Boy. Yeah.
All
Well,
right. Okay, I like that.
yeah, I guess it just, like it just kind of pop up in my mind. So
Nice, nice. And are you a big fan of Halloween season? Like, do you like going out to like to haunted houses and dress up and
yeah,
everything?
yeah, for sure. When I was a kid, we got like small parties at my middle school. Like just cooking something with the Halloween, like different, like images and stuff like that. And it was like such a warm time for me. And even now, last year, me and my friends attended this huge celebration at Universal City Walk called Halloween Horror Nights. They
Oh yeah,
basically are building like a lot of mazes around the theme park, and
yes.
it's like I got so many good thoughts and feelings from this way of like spending your time.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
I
for
like Halloween is my all-time best holiday. I love it. I love the whole month of Halloween. I love going to all the haunted houses, the hay rides. It's such a fun time.
And like just watching some cute Halloween content, like not like horror films for sure. It's like you could watch something every day, but
Oh yeah,
sometimes like Goosebumps TV show,
yes.
like something like Courage the Cowardly Dog or something like that, or Scooby Doo even.
Scooby Doo, yeah. And is there anything coming up for you that you want to plug? Like anything else that you're working on?
Yeah, I'm trying to develop one of these features. One of them like really big studio horror, but some with some queer themes within, as I told you. I'd love to make this high-tense thriller set in LA, which I'm trying, like to push right now. And I'm applying like to a lot of competitions and incubators with different like short stories like sci-fi, horror, like queer stuff. Some some of this stuff is like cute queer stuff as well. I'm, like I'm trying to put myself in this world, and
Oh
I'm
yeah,
in this position that I'm trying to just to film something that, like relate to my world, relate to my feelings.
awesome. And the last question I will ask you is, where could fans follow you at and follow your work?
Yeah, I got my Instagram. It's pretty easy. It's like my name and last name, Dima Barch. And you could find me on Twitter. My nickname is Secret Saint. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah, just try to find my films or request these films, and I'll just show it to you. Because, like it's really important to spread my art right now.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this, and that happy Pride Month too. So thanks for doing this.
Oh gosh, thank you for having me. It was such a warm conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really awesome. Like I really love love chatting. Like you're really cool, and I would love for you to come back on like whenever you want to talk about any other films that you have.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Nice to hear. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Well, we'll definitely have a great day. And again, thank you for coming on and doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.